Welcome everybody, Shir number 923. We're learning today Le'ili Nishmas Moshe Dov ben Rabban Zisel, Le'ili Nishmas Blima Bas Rab Moshe, and L'Refu Shalem Elio ben Dina Malka. Okay, getting back to our malach of MAKEH B'PATIsh, we are in the middle of talking about bells, door knockers, these type of things, instruments, utensils which make sound. Just a chazar over, we said instruments which make, or utensils which are made to make sounds are aser to use in any case, even though somebody just uses it to make noise. But if it's a utensil or an instrument made just to, not to make sound, or for some other use, that we said is okay, as long as you don't make a musical rhythm with it or so on. Okay, so in conjunction with that, brings down the Sefer Eitzer Halachos. We spoke about last time, whereby we said, first of all, the door knocker, the round rings, is also to use. But then we mentioned from the Mishnah Berurah, but if somebody uses the lock of the door, if it has the handle or whatever, and you want to bang on the door to tell people that you're waiting at the door with the lock or the handle of the lock, right, that's attached to the door, since it's made to lock the door and open the door, it's not made to make noise, you would be allowed to do it, as long as you don't play a beat, you don't play a rhythm with that knock. Just knocking on the door with that lock is no problem. So he brings on also the Sefer Eitzer Halachos, with a key, for example, again, in conjunction with that Mishnah Berurah, as long as it's a kli, a utensil that's not made, not specifically made to make noise, al hadelis kadesh yishmu b'nei abayis is mutter, and that's what he says. He says like a. He brings on the bottom a schlissel. He says, afilu alidei hamafteach, schlissel. Somebody has a key, right? You want to knock on the door with the key. You want to knock, we said with the lock, you could use the key. In a case where one is allowed to carry or whatever, you have the key, you can knock with the key. The key that's used to open and close the door, that's also perfectly fine. Because this is not a key is not a utensil made to make noise. Hadelas v'loy lahakish bay. Okay, it says in conjunction with that Mishnah Berurah, he says another interesting thing. He says which is dava pasha, but it's important to keep in mind. Somebody's, let's say, inside the house. You want to knock on the window to get the attention of your friend outside. He says that's also no problem. Again, you're not, as long as you don't knock with a beat, you don't knock with a rhythm. You just knock on the window to get the attention of your friend. For doing it very carefully, obviously. To get the attention of somebody outside, that would also be fine. Okay, now it's just getting back to the bell issue. We spoke about a regular bell. Again, not an electric bell. Electric bell obviously is usher all the way through. That's not the issue. But the regular bell that somebody sometimes has on the door, or you ring the bell to as opposed to a door knocker type of a thing to get in, we said that's also because a bell is made to make noise. But in conjunction with the Bir Halacha, who brought it down, but the Shmir Shabbos Hilchos brings down that if one really does need, a person has to get into the house and they have no way of getting into the house. If for whatever reason they can't knock with the hands, or they're not going to, people won't hear it, or whatever case is, so he does bring down, one can rely on the authorities, on those poskim who relax in other words, they take a hold that in such circumstances, b'shasat chak, somebody they must get in the house, they have no way of getting in, they can't knock or whatever, people won't hear, so then they may ring the bell, provided that is not obviously an electrically operated bell. Now, only thing is, when one does that, he does bring down, does the Shmir Shabbos Hilchos, so one should be careful where at all possible in such a case, one should operate the bell. One should ring the bell in a manner. Again, when we say ring the bell, it sounds like electric. I want to make it clear that it's the bell. It's a wool type of a bell, nothing to do with electric. Where at all possible, in such a case, one should operate the bell or shake the bell in a manner to make this noise. With a shinoi, to do with a shinoi, for example, like with their elbow. Let's say they'll hit the bell with their elbow and thereby ring the bell, right, to make a ding-a-ling with the bell, and the people inside, again, worst case scenario, if need be, and somebody's really stuck. Now, an interesting halacha brings down the Shmir Shabbos Hilchos also. It happens. Well, it happens every so often. A person forgot. Oy vey, I forgot. I pressed the bell. Now we're talking about a electric bell, the regular bells that people have that's electrically attached to the the system in the house. So during the week you ring the bell. Let's say on Shabbos, the person forgot. The person didn't realize I rang the bell. Oy vey, what should I do? So the question is now, good, you started the Isser by pressing the bell, you forgot, you didn't realize, you were half asleep, whatever the case was, but now the question is, could you take your finger off the bell? Because really, while your finger's on the bell, the bell is ringing. But now when you take it off, you're doing another action of stopping the bell. So you want to take your finger off. So he brings down, does it say for Shmir Shabbos Kehilchasa, if one had mistakenly rung an electric bell, and while one is still pressing the bell, remember it's Shabbos. I just chapped. I can't do that, right? He said, one is allowed. One may take one's finger off the button, unless this would turn on or off a certain control, a light. If there's lights over there, red, these type of little lights. Sometimes there's lights by the bell, which is designated to show whether or not the bell is operating. A lot of times there's light, so that would be running into a problem. I'm not quite sure as to how the Shmir Shabbos would hold to get around it, but in any case, let's say it's a regular bell. Let's just take the simple case for now. Let's say the regular bell, there's no lights. If you leave go, there's no lights going on, no lights going off, and by mistake somebody started pressing it, so just taking their fingers off and stopping the noise, that would be okay. Now, another halacha interesting in reference to a bell. Again, now we're back to where it's not electric, the regular ringing little bell. That just has the thing inside and just makes noise, so that we don't use. But he says, it brings down the Sefer Shmir Shabbos. Let's say they have a door, right? And to get into the house, every time you open the house, you ring the bell a little bit, because it hits the bell and it rings the bell, and that lets people know in the house that somebody's coming in or going out or whatever the case is. You have this a lot on various different type of doors, depending on the design. So the question is, so brings on Shmir Shabbos Kehilchasa, before Shabbos one should take down that bell. Before Shabbos or before Yom Tov, make sure to take down that bell, and it shouldn't be there. Now, but let's say it comes Shabbos, comes Yom Tov, I forgot, right? And I can't take it down, it's tied on, whatever the case is I can't take it off. It's part of the house, it's there. I left it on, I forgot. So the question is, could one open up the door, right? Every time you open the door, you're going to be hitting the bell, you're going to be hitting the bell's gonna make noise, and this is a noisemaker, and it's made to make noise. So maybe I can't open the door. So Lemaisa, he explains that does a Shmir Shabbos Kehilchasa, if one has forgotten to remove the bell, one may nevertheless open the door on Shabbos Yom Tov, as long as the bell is not electrically operated. Again, you have to make sure that it's not something that's electric. Just a simple bell, and somebody just opens the door. It would be okay if they should take it off. Opening the door a bell which rings with the opening of the door should be removed before Shabbos Yom Tov. In case they forgot, they still will be allowed to open the door. The reason why is, by the way, because Lemaisa, if you think about it, this is it's a Gezerah Midrabanan. Some want to say it's even Uvda Dechayel. Okay, we're not going to get into that right now. The Bir Halacha brings down the whole thing. Is it a Gezerah? Is it Uvda Dechayel? But be it as it may, worst case scenario, it's a Gezerah Midrabanan, number one. Number two, when you're opening up the door, a person doesn't have intention for the bell. I want to go out of my house. What do I care if the bell makes ding-a-ling or the bell doesn't make ding-a-ling, right? And in general, that's what the case is. I wanted to take it off before Shabbos. I wanted to take it off before Yom Tov, but I forgot. So now, when I open the door, I don't want the bell to go off, but I couldn't care less that the bell does ring. So it comes out that it's a psik reisha. It's a psik reisha. It will happen automatically. It happens inevitably. If I open the door, I have no way out. So it comes out that it's a psik reisha. It's really a psik reisha d'loi nichale, because I couldn't care less about the bell, right? So it's a psik reisha d'loi nichale, whereby I don't need it at all. Either I don't want it or I don't need it at all. In this case, number one. And number two, it's on a derabanan. So you're dealing with a psik reisha d'loi nichale, on worst case a derabanan over here. And definitely to go in and out of the house. The person doesn't have to stay inside the house the whole Shabbos in this situation. So that's what the Shmir Shabbos Kehilchasa says, that if you couldn't take it down before, you forgot, you got whatever the case was, one would be allowed to open and close the door on Shabbos and Yom Tov. Thank you for listening. Atzlach and Bracha Kol Tov.